Hey y'all, welcome back to World Cultures. Today we're looking at our final day of Europe and talk just a little bit about the importance of Europe, and they're definitely a major global political power, some of the most powerful and influential countries on the planet. They have colonies everywhere. Russia has political power over Ukraine, and of course it doesn't help right now. That you got the war going on there. Britain controlled Hong Kong for many, many years after creating a lot of problems between China and Britain. The Opium Wars, to say the least, of that. Because Hong Kong was basically democratic, or at least under constitutional democracy for so many years, then they have a lot of problems accepting the Chinese rule. So the British also control parts of the Virgin Islands in the U.S., in the Gulf of Mexico area, Belize, and a couple other colonies around the world. Europe forced their way of life on the rest of the world through their military and through their colonial powers. Britain at one time controlled a quarter of the world. Sun never set on the British Empire. The U.S. was created as English, French, and Spanish colonies. Canada and Australia still swear allegiance to Britain, even though they technically have their independence. If Spain, South America speaks Spanish. Brazil speaks Portuguese because they're the colonies, they're the countries that control the colonies there. French, the Dutch, and the English conquered Africa, not to mention Belgium and Germany and several other countries. They did a massive land grab in Africa in the late 1800s and pretty much destroyed the continent, as if they hadn't already destroyed the continent with the slave trade. Major news companies come from Europe. It's very important. They understand the importance of news in a society and how important it is to tell the news honestly. And in fact, they have laws requiring that the news report honestly. It would be so nice if that would happen here, because there's way too much news that is not real. Fox News and a few others. This is Fox is particularly the worst, although MSNBC is getting there. It's really sad, but it has to be facts. They have to report on the facts, and that's why getting the news from the BBC is one of the best places to get the news, because they're fair. They're not biased. They tell the truth. Reuters from Germany is the same thing. Those are news agencies that you can trust. RT News is from Russia. Russia does not have rules about them only speaking the truth. It used to be that you could access RT News on YouTube, their American feed of it. That is no longer the case because of the Russian war. But definitely BBC, The Guardian, Al Jazeera English, all of those are very fair news reporting agencies. A lot of common interests throughout Europe. Sports, particularly football, meaning soccer. Soccer's crazy in Europe. I mean, they have riots and people get killed every year because of when their teams win, when their teams lose. It's absolutely crazy. Just intense. Drinking, says that the average drinking age in Europe is 16. Some countries don't have any drinking laws, and it's normal to have wine, particularly with a meal. Little different attitude toward drinking in Europe, partly because they tended to cut water with alcohol. Just put enough alcohol even in a child's drink to make sure that it killed the bacteria in the water. So they have a little bit of a different thought about drinking alcohol than we do here, particularly wine. Beer is a little different, particularly the pints. If you Irish and the Scots drink a lot of whiskey, of course the lagers. Politics, they pay attention to American politics much more closely than Americans pay attention to American politics because they realize how important it is. One thing Americans don't seem to realize, it doesn't matter who's in office. It does matter who's in office because it affects every single thing that happens in your life. It's going to affect the prices of everything that you buy. It's going to affect your rent. It's going to affect the rules about how you house, your cigarette smoking, your drinking, your clean air, that sort of thing. It's all important. They view our politics as like a comedian show because it's so stupid. They don't understand why we do the things that we do, particularly with Trump when he was in office. They were like, what is wrong with the American people? We never expected them to do something stupid like this, and we'll put this idiot in office because they knew the truth about him, and Americans still refuse to see the truth. Not that Biden's much better. They think he's funny too, but that not for the same reasons as the other one. Yeah, vacations are important. Europeans get 25 to 30 vacation days a year. They get holidays. They get paid time off. You are forced to take vacation every year. You don't have to worry about someone else coming in and taking your job while you're away for a week. For the Italians, if they feel stressed, their insurance will pay for them to take a vacation. And they're not the only one. They're not the only country that does that. It's completely different than it is here. They view their health much differently than we do here, including mental health. Let's see, which team is this? I don't know if this is their World Cup or if this is just one of the Premier League soccer teams. In an Irish bar, watching the sports on the telly. Vacation time. Things they do that are weird. Bathrooms are not free. There's no free public bathrooms. They're also much nicer than what we do here. There's no air conditioning. Most Europeans smoke. This is not my apartment. This is Peter. Remember, he's the one that wrote these slides and created these. He lived in Europe for a while, and they smoke everywhere. That's getting to be a little bit better because of the rising health concerns with smoking. It's the same in China, where the government was promoting cigarettes, but they're now not. And when I was there, they had just banned smoking in restaurants, and it did not go very well. But people know better than to protest. So yeah. Here we're used to getting as many refills as we want for nothing. That's not the case in Europe. You pay for every refill. There's taxes on sugar to help pay for medical insurance, which is provided by the government. You also see public transportation everywhere. Public transportation is so much better every country in the world other than the United States, because here it sucks. It's also cheaper to use public transportation everywhere else around the world, and it is much, 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 much better. High-speed trains. I cannot even begin to tell you how much difference it is between the public transportation there and here. So one thing you're going to be doing for nearly every continent is looking at the World Heritage Sites. And the World Heritage Sites are cultural and natural heritage around the world considered to be of outstanding value to humanity. They matter to everyone around the world. They are not just important to one set of people in one small place. Europe has the most World Heritage Sites, and they are constantly adding new ones. So what you're going to be doing is you have this paper called the World Heritage Site Research. You're going to go to their website. eventually the website will come up here. Our internet's being a little bit bad today. Maybe it's going to come up. My internet's going to be bad, so let me do this. Sites. You know why I don't think this is working? It's because I'm doing this video right now. That's why it's being bad. So I will post a second video on how to do this World Heritage Site information